Space. Space. That's the gist, right? Is that the gist? Are you on the edge? Are you feeling eternal? What's up, everybody? Are we spacing it up today? Are we looking at new magic cards? Murphy's Law, search Martitious Magic. Yes, sir. Jank, what's up? Nico, what's up? Julian, hello. Found my soundboard. Space. What'd you think? How did you like it? Cardboard Tutor. Say the name Cardboard Tutor and Cardboard Tutor appears. Is a Cardboard Tutor a game changer? Maybe. Nico? There's a lot of people who pay me very good money to get edged. It used to be so wholesome. It used to be so friendly. Epic. Yo, Warp. Warp looks cool. Not that I've been looking at spoilers. Not that I've looked at leaks. What? It's no, what was the set that the whole book got spoiled? New Phyrexia? It's no New Phyrexia, but how leaky has this set been? We haven't had a leaky set like this in quite some time. All right, Salute. All right. Phasing or phrasing? But this one looks super exciting. The leaks have looked cool. The set looks sweet. I'm hoping that... Look, Dragonstorm was awesome, right? Dragonstorm kicked ass. Let's be real. If we're looking at magic sets, Tarkir is the gift that keeps on giving. I'm still building decks. I just put this together. I just finished building this. Played one game with it last Thursday with the patrons and won. It's the set that keeps on giving. Are y'all still building any Tarkir stuff? Because I know I am. And yeah, Final Fantasy was sick. I collected it all. I got the whole set. I loved Final Fantasy. I considered just making a video that was just like, here's all the reasons I loved Final Fantasy. A dozen of you would watch it. But it was awesome. And so I need Edge of Eternities to feel like that. Sorry, I'm de-sleeving a deck as we're talking. We're going for Garage the Gathering shooting this weekend. Garage the Gathering is shooting like 5 or 6 episodes this weekend. I'm going out to LA on Friday. We got some sick guests lined up, y'all. Nico said, Joel, trade me a summon Bahamut. I got multiple. Murphy's Law, I don't know if the whole set has been leaked, but maybe it has at this point. All my decks are Final Fantasy now? Well, all my decks have influence. Yo, how many of my Commander decks, by the way, got huge injections from Final Fantasy? That's a good short. I got a ton of new cards. Like Dahada. Dahada's a deck where I get maybe 1 or 2 legends per set, maybe. Final Fantasy was like, I think more than 10 new cards that I put in there. DJ, what's up? Good to see you. Cake, yeah. Final Fantasy is where Magic started. But, you know, Magic's origins, it's a good thing to acknowledge it as Final Fantasy because that is the true origin of Magic the Gathering, but we're going to build on it from there. That's going to be a large contingent of people. Not capping, as the kids say. is people who started with Final Fantasy or that are like, what is Edge of Eternities? I don't recognize this IP at all. Yep, I did see that. I did see that Exile Space Goif. David, for real! It's because the Celeste deck was a Mardu Reanimator deck. I called it the Celeste deck. It was the Terra deck. Poor Terra. Terra and Celeste both made it into my Dahada deck. Yeah, Epic. That's what I'm saying, is that you've got a set where Legendary was basically the entire thing. It's going to be interesting to see how they keep Universes Beyond sets from devolving into just Legends, 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 Legends. Scaredy Cat, do you think that... Okay, so you're saying, Scaredy Cat, you think the Sliver support is just going to be like a commander-only thread through the set, or do you think it's going to have standard applicability? Stream Killage, what's up? Killage, I think I saw you in Vegas, but I was busy and you were busy. Were you in Vegas? I'm almost 100% sure I saw you, and I was like... Every Dahada is degenerate Dahada, Garage the Gathering. Y'all, Garage the Gathering talking in chat right there. That's the Commander show that I'm a part of. Make sure you go click over there. Make sure you go subscribe to Garage the Gathering. We got a new episode coming out soon. New episodes every 2 to 3 weeks. We're shooting new episodes this weekend. Got some sick guests lined up. Headhunter, what's up? I'm hype on EOE Garage the Gathering, but you know where I'm at. I'm all in on Spider-Man. I got a video where basically I just for like 15 minutes was like, what are y'all talking about? Spider-Man's gonna be sick. I just don't know when to drop it because everybody's gonna be talking about Edge of Eternities today. K-Spice, good to see you. Y'all, in about 14 minutes here, let me show you what's going on. In about 14 minutes, we've got the debut video for Edge of Eternities popping up. We got cards like this coming at you. Anybody excited for this as a headliner? Hey, anybody interested that there's not any serialized, it would seem? Because certainly they would have announced this one as the serialized, right? And look, by the way, I don't know if y'all saw the non-Edge of Eternities news that dropped. The Sonic the Gathering related news. Hedgehog's The Gathering. Did y'all see this? I think we already saw the secret cards in the command tower, that Master Emerald Shrine. How about rare drop Chaos Emeralds though? Y'all, look at the ones at the bottom. Look at all the different Chaos Emeralds. That's pretty cool. I love me a good chase. My question is how rare are they going to be? I've only so far seen this graphic. I got to go dig into the internet and see if I can find some mods somewhere. Anybody's got that, I'll forever be in your debt. But I got to say, rare drops in the Sonic layer. Bueno, bueno. Find me trying to pull a Chaos Emerald Lotus Petal. I want it. Will I get it? I don't know. Did y'all ever play that Dreamcast Sonic? I forget which one that was called. Julian, we're all going to be able to get the secret lair. Make sure you're in the Discord. We're going to be in there together as a family, arms around each other, kumbaya-ing and getting the Sonic the Hedgehog. What's that new meme? That's what we're going to be doing. We just got to get the Chaos Emeralds. But the thing is we're here for Edge of Eternities. I just thought that was interesting news right before the stream started. We got 11 minutes. Any other shots? Any other shots to call for Edge of Eternities? I'm super excited for Shocks. I got so many videos coming about Shocks. Y'all are gonna love it. Crown, have faith. 162 legendary characters decaf. Yeesh. Yeah, Obi. I keep hearing more and more buzz about Avatar. I thought nobody cared about Avatar. I'm going to be one of 12 people that are interested in Spider-Man, and everybody else is just interested in Avatar. We're talking about a Star Trek set. Why is everybody talking about a Star Trek set? Did I miss something? I was on a little mini vacation last week. Yeah, we're up in 10, Spec. Well, yeah, 15. Kind of. Verges gain so much value in standard with shocks for what it's worth? Yes. Yes, I could see. Like playability value, right? I don't know that that's necessarily going to send Verges more than they already are, but if you've been watching the videos over the last 2 weeks, you'll know that it's a great time to go look at Verges. All kinds. Special treatments, non-special treatments. Make sure you got your Verges. Why is everybody talking about Trek? Is Trek actually happening? They do have fun cards. Love Dr. Robotnik. Yeah, the Robotnik card looks sweet. Brad, you're going to be in Atlanta in costume? You better come find me, dude. I want a picture with you. You're like, I'm the one that told you I was going to be in costume. Side note, he's psyching me right now. It's going to be an Avatar costume. The Star Trek set was debunked, and it was a scam pulled by a New Jersey game store for Google ranking. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. No legal slivers in standard or alchemy. So it's like a little sub-theme for the commander players as a treat. Is that what we're looking at? One of your favorite things ever. Obi, did you watch it as it aired, or did you watch it after the fact? What I'm asking is, did most Avatar... I've never seen it. It's only like one season, right? And a spinoff show? So I could watch it. It's not that... And it's like a kid's show, right? So it's probably not too heavy of a mental load to be watching it. Killage, I thought so. Yeah, please. I'll be there. Michael, I have no idea. No, it's longer, but watch it anyway? Alright. 3 seasons? I thought it was 1. Do I think lander tokens are going to be treasure, food, or Power Stone tier? Doubtful. Lower than Power Stone. I don't know, Devin. We got to look at it. Ask me that again if we see a lander token. I'm not off the top of the dome sure what a lander token is right now. I think I've heard it, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, Julian, I'm pretty sure you're going to get some sliver love. I know that. We have seen... we've seen some leaks of some sliver stuff. I can't believe there was leaks of this set. But for real, actually, it's like... all the security budget went to the Final Fantasy and Spider-Man sets because they were like, Square or Disney Mouse will stomp on us and it'll hurt. Stomp on us and not in the good way. So they definitely protected those sets. They were just like, whatever. Edge is whatever. It's a space set. Enjoy. Steven said 3 seasons times 12 episodes times 20 minutes. I see. The whole first show is about 24 hours long total. Kate, you're saying I have to give a whole day up to watch this? Ay. Hypnotic said it's very heavy. What do you mean it's heavy? A lander token is a Wayfarer's bauble? That's cool. It doesn't feel like a very evergreen name to me, I'll be honest with you. Lander token? It is kind of funny, lander. It is a lander token. It is a token that goes and gets land. That's kind of cute. 2T Sackett. Search a basic. Battlefield tapped. I don't know. You're taking a mono green bird to a tournament in San Antonio. I'm hoping it will do well for me. Well, good luck, Michael. I do appreciate you. I don't know anything about Nomadrin. Spec knows modern. Garage the Gathering. There you are. Been trying to mod you. There you go. I can't wait for Spider-Man either, Von Doom. I mean, with a name like Von Doom, I'm assuming that the Marvel stuff is going to hit pretty hard for you. Garage, I want them to do... I made a short about this earlier today. I really would love Galaxy Quest. I think that that would be really cute. I really would love Halo, obviously. Halo would be so sick. I was talking in Discord yesterday about Mech Warrior. God, I would love Mech Warrior. Any Robotech Mech Warrior fans in the chat? Anyone's shields online? Anyone's weapons online? A Spaceballs one would be funny. Yep, we got 5 minutes left here, y'all. So what we're doing right now is waiting for the debut video of Edge of Eternities. We got 4 more minutes until we are fully edged. Halo would be sick as a secret lair. We don't need a whole set of it. We don't need a whole set of it, but a secret layer of it. The thing is with Halo is that the most iconic stuff in there, you can do vehicles pretty easily. Weapons. You saw what they had to do to Squall's weapon. What is Squall's weapon called, Dom? I know all the Squall fans were pissy about that gunblade. I know, Buzz. There you are. Yes, Julian. I see some MechWarrior fans in chat. Love to see it. Grabthar's Hammer. That's what I'm talking about, Jank. I want an instant called By Grabthar's Hammer You Will Be Avenged, and it's Teferi's Protection. Yeah, dude. All the old heads rolling their eyes, and I'm like, let's do it, baby. Lionheart. Thank you, Nick. It wasn't called Star Fox, Garage. Ooh, Cortana as an Aether Spark? That'd be cool. Dude, a Pillar of Autumn? Yes, that's what I'm talking about, man. They wouldn't be able to do the weapons. Like, you couldn't do, you know, Spunker Rocket Launcher, whatever. That would be tight. But... like... the sword? You could do the sword. That sword is like one of the... it's got to be the most iconic, right? Would you say that in Halo, the assault rifle or the energy sword is more iconic? Got to be the energy sword, right? Got to be the energy sword. The assault rifle's iconic, but it's just kind of like generic assault rifle. Energy sword, Master Chief, Arbiter. Oh, that hammer. The pistol would be good too. But see, I'm telling you, we got to dance around guns. Thank you, Trumas Popo. Yeah, Lionheart. Lionheart is kind of the like, look, y'all, guns, they have to shy away from. Oh, baby. I'm getting even more jacked about a Halo set right now. Energy sword, a Warthog, 343, Cortana, Master Chief, Arbiter. Ooh, I think we got enough for a couple secret layers, y'all. We could do like 2 or 3 here. Yo, if Sonic could do a secret layer with multiple layers, surely Halo. Needler. Ooh, Flood. Yes, Bat Puppy. Now we're thinking. Okay, so it's 3 secret layers. We got 1 that's the Marines. We got 1 that's the Elites. And we got 1 that's the Flood. That could be cool. Get Gravemind as... oh, dude. A Gravemind? A Gravemind card? Would go pretty hard, right? Look at that. New legend. I could see it. That could work. Oh man, Blood Gulch has command tower. Hire us, Watsy. Hire us. You can have... you know what? You can have these ideas. That's what I'm talking about, Marcus Betts. Then you have Aether Sparks that are serialized to 343. And we just take it all the way, baby. Full collectible degeneracy. Let's do it. All right, y'all. We got just a few minutes or seconds. I'm going to turn down this. Oh, my God, peanut butter. How could we forget? We would have to do a Halo ring, right? Probably just name it, right? Y'all, I'm sorry.
I'm excited.
Sound warning here.
Whoa, that's a cool spacecraft.
Right?
All right.
Was 7:15?
7:15.
The edge of eternities. Oh, space. All right, let me hit him with a reload here. Premiere will begin shortly. The Halo Soul Ring? Oh, chat. How did we Spec? We're not there yet. Spec, you gotta grab. Everybody grab a Celsius. Take a deep breath. Oh, wow. Here we go. Come on, chat. Let's go. Oh, plasma grenades. Plasma grenades would, I don't know. Can you do a grenade in there, though? You do a bomb, right? They've got bombs in Magic. Starship Trooper one would be funny. Would be good. You're on cold coffee? There you go, Julian. I'm on a Celsius kick right now. I'm a White Monster true believer. I bend the knee at the altar of the White Monster. However, Celsius has been pretty sweet. I've been enjoying it lately. Where's this live, Hands? This is live on YouTube and on their Twitch channel. And that's a really good point. Let me just touch base real fast with everybody. So what we're doing here is we're going to sit and watch and enjoy the Edge of Eternity's debut together. I will be talking over it. I will be pausing when I want to. If you want an uninterrupted situation, go watch this video straight up and then come back, especially if you're watching this after the fact, and watch and hang out and you can see what all our thoughts were. But just know I'm going to be talking over this whole thing. I'm going to be pausing if I won't. And we're going to go back at the end and recap everything that we saw in the video into a tight little package. Pink Juice Monster? Keelan? Mods banned Keelan. You're banned. I'm just kidding. You don't have to go anywhere. Yeah, Andrew, so far all the Celsiuses have been pretty good. I like when they've gotten cute with the flavors recently. There's one that's, and this is going to sound weird, but there's one that's, one of the pieces is marshmallow. One of the flavors is marshmallow. Now hang on just a second. Actually pretty good. Actually pretty good. Y'all, thank you for talking to me about the Halo secret lair. That was really fun. We should do I wish I was good enough at Photoshop besides making YouTube thumbnails. We should do a stream where we just sit and make fake secret layers of things that I'm interested in. Sound good? There's nothing wrong with coffee. Nothing wrong with coffee. My little tum-tum can't handle coffee anymore. I said as I drank straight up battery acid. Oh yeah. Keelan Riptide Punch? Is that a flavor? Ooh, yeah. Spec? Heck yes. AK-47. Reaper Missile. There's gonna be a Shrek secret lair one day. You know it. You know it. Have I tried tea, Turner? No. How many milligrams of caffeine is in 1 cup of tea? Because if it's less than 100, you're kidding yourself. And this Celsius has 150. 150 milligrams in 12 fluid ounces. That's got to be bad, right? Gets me going, though. Have WotC had a collab with Disney IP yet? World of Warcraft? I don't know. Oh yeah, Buzz, I know. I do live in Georgia. I do drink tea, but we call it sweet tea, Nico. And if it's real good, we call it diabetes. And if it's real good, it tastes like the water came out of a hose. And only the real ones know what I'm talking about. Give me diabetes that tastes like the water came out of a hose. All right, chat. It's time for launch. It's time for space set. Let's go. Y'all let me know on volumes as we go, okay?
Some think there's nothing beyond what is known. But I came from nothing. I took the opportunity to forge my own destiny. I will make the stars tell me their secrets and bring these planets to their knees when I know everything. All the power in creation will be within my grasp.
Whoa! He's looking pretty edgy of Eternities, is he not? Got him! Thanks for hanging out today, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's go.
Swirling with color. It's full of battling spaceships. It's star nebula far, far away. It's a beautiful place.
Elena Dannerart.
To me, I mean, like, as a human being, space is the final frontier, and as a magic designer, space has always also been the final frontier because we've never done anything before like this.
It's not like a small place we haven't been before. It's really huge and so unknown.
The edge of Eternities is really at the edge of the multiverse.
The way that our amazing world-building team has explained this to me is if you imagine the multiverse like an orange, the edge is the rind. So it's this thin layer on the very outside of the blind eternities.
And it's a little peek into a part of Magic's lore that has kind of been known for a long time, but also has been very unknown, this blind eternity space.
We weren't bound by any of the normal restrictions that we often have when we're returning to an old magic plane that has a specific mechanical identity. Here, it's like, we're going to space. We've never been to space before. There is infinity exciting stuff to do here.
It's not just that anything can be out there. It's kind of that everything is.
We're in uncharted territory. We are expanding what anyone can
orange,
imagine
Julian.
that magic the
It's an
game can be,
orange.
that magic the worlds can be.
Whenever magic
There's the
goes to a
orange.
new kind of setting,
Somebody took
there's
some
this
bites.
enormous untapped well of concepts that we've never done before that we get to do for the first time.
What it means to have planets, what it means to have ships, and kind of creating those things
That thing
in
looks
the
sick.
language of magic.
So there is a storyline happening while a lot of stuff is also happening in the background. So the main storyline follows Sammy and their crew of misfits.
And the whole system here is revolving around a void called Sothera.
There is a faction of monks who worship this black hole and are trying to feed it and eventually have it consume the entire universe.
The super void at the center, as well as 5 planets. And each of those 5 planets are aligned to a different color of mana in Magic. And all of those 5 planets sort of express their identity through what that color is about.
And that's something that we really wanted to do with Edge of Eternities, was to really get the sense of this large scale, like space opera.
I wonder if we're going to have a less
it to
gold
feel
set
vast.
like
We get
Duskmourn.
to tap into our
Duskmourn was
vision of outer space.
way fewer
right? Like,
gold
physics
cards.
doesn't apply to Magic.
And if you got
Planets
something
don't
like
necessarily have to
Tarkir
be
that like
round.
overloaded us
You
with
have
gold
planets
cards,
here that have like turned into like corkscrew shapes, or some of them have like holes through the center of them, or blasted into bits, but they're still keeping their shape in orbit.
In a science fantasy set like this, scale is such an important thing.
Space is big, so we kind of let loose with the numbers a little bit.
Space is
found ways
big,
to
write it
get
down.
Double-digit numbers onto cards.
Maybe even bigger than Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, but I'm not going to spoil that yet.
Even when we go to a new place, we want to connect to Magic.
We decided to put a lot of lands in this set to really give players a chance to like have the full experience on the table in their battlefield with this new setting.
I was really excited when I started to work on the set to see that Tezzeret, our old friend, the evil artificer, was in the file. It's such a perfect setting for him.
Yeah, so Tezzeret's here. Tezzeret got a little bit of a facelift. He's looking pretty badass.
Another great way that we connect Magic and the Edge of Eternities is through creature types, right? Kavu are returning, you know, for
Love
fans of
Kavu
Kavu
back.
out there.
It's kind of
Slivers,
interesting.
of course. I know there's so many fans of
They
Slivers,
were
Eldrazi.
these, like, mindless
you see
creatures.
These creatures that you've seen on Dominaria
Anti-Causal
and the other
Vestige
planes
looks
of Magic,
so tight,
but now
y'all.
we've brought them to the
We're
Edge
gonna
of
go back and
Eternities.
check
One of my
all these
favorite
cards
in Magic
afterward.
is Tarmogoyf. Now that I was working on the space set, I could live my reality of Tarmogoyf, space, Cosmogoyf.
And that just,
Cosmogoyf.
really captures this.
Look at the
feel
flavor
of,
text.
Hey, we are
Alert
in outer
Cosmogoyf.
space now.
Recommended-
All right,
recommended
what is,
action
you know,
run.
outer space version of
PSS
Alurgoyf?
Eric.
So from the onset of trying to design
That flavor
Edge of
text was
Eternities,
originally
I
from a
always
character
knew
named
that I
Eric's
wanted
daughter.
the large common flyer to be a space whale. They're in so many different kinds of media, and I always find it so silly. It's so awesome at the same time.
Look, it's a flying whale. That's really cool.
There are so
Space
many named
whale.
characters and so many named factions and so many different kinds of ships and different kinds of planets. And it really gives you this sense that you're living in a universe that is more massive than you could have ever imagined.
Like,
Right?
I've not seen any of these yet.
So excited.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
I love the way the space dragons turned out.
Yeah, space dragons with weird multiple eyes.
Alert, Cosmogoy. Recommended action, run. Well, you just need to open some more packs.
I'm working on it. I'm going slow.
Cosmogoy?
Exactly.
As someone on the world building team, it's always really exciting to be able to bridge that gap between
Yeah, I
the
saw
world
those
building
Star
you've
Wars
done
space
and the mechanics
whales
we
and-
see on the card.
When you're saying, hey,
What
we're
was that
doing
show
an outer
called?
space world, like,
Ahsoka.
of course you're going to have planets. Of course you're going to have spacecraft. It's science fantasy at its heart and bringing that to life.
So to me, space is about exploration and being an optimist about what I could see. It's also about the vast amount
The
of
art looks
distances
super
required
sweet.
to travel it. The
This is
scale,
very
the
up
size,
my
look
alley.
how big these things are, while also having
Keelan,
the
that
harsh
one
reality
shot of the
space
person
being
like floating,
extremely
then sword or
unforgiving, and it's
dagger over their
dangerous.
hand looked
And
very
we have
doomed to
4
me.
mechanics in the set that each reflect one of those things.
So station is our mechanic.
No,
that is
Devin, it
kind
does
of
look like they're taking it
representing the
seriously.
Huge objects in space.
The set
There are
is
2 new
taking itself
subtypes
seriously,
in
I
Edge of
should say.
Eternities. There's spacecraft and planet, and at certain thresholds, that permanent will do special things. If it's a
Pay 2
spacecraft,
life,
it'll
sack
be
a
a big
creature, draw
and
cards
if it's a
equal to the
planet,
sack
it'll
creature's
unlock
power.
an awesome ability.
The mechanic works similar
familiar.
to kind of vehicles or mounts where you are paying in your creature's power at sorcery speed to kind of turn them on.
Yeah,
but
warp mechanic
unlike
looks
those,
super
you
sick
are
spec. I think
gathering
that
counters over
warp
time
is gonna
until
come
you
back
reach a
as different
threshold and
words.
unlock the abilities on the
Because
card.
it's going to open up
Here's a
some
big,
interesting
splashy
designs
new
for them.
mechanic that gives you a sense of enormous scale.
You put all this effort into it, but now that power is at your disposal is a really fun feeling.
Of course, with land being such an instrumental part of a fun game, we wanted something to capture, once again, this feeling of
Yeah,
discovery,
Brown, there have been a
right?
couple.
Lands are representing the exploration of new places, which is really core to the genre, and artifacts are
I liked
representing
the art of
technology,
Aether Drift,
and the
Charles
Lander is
Mania. I
really
just
the
didn't
marriage
like
of
the
those two
overall
things.
like
Lander is a
union
new
of all the
token that we're
different
introducing.
looks.
All you have to
It
do
just
is
didn't
pay 2
mesh
mana
for
and
me.
sacrifice
This
it.
all seems
and
to
then you
mesh,
search your
even though it
library
all
for
looks
any basic
very
land and
different
put it
from
onto
each
the
other.
battlefield tapped.
Is kind of similar to other token mechanics that we've done, like clues or treasures. In the set, it ties into landfall as a returning mechanic, in letting you make multiple land drops
Garage
and
the
really
Gathering.
playing
What do you
with
mean?
that
Clarify
theme
that,
of
please. I don't know what you're
discovery
saying.
and exploring new stuff.
And then we have the warp mechanic to really evoke how far people have to travel in space. At light speed, they show up, they're gone.
Warp is a mechanic that allows
You
you
may cast
to
this
play
card from
the
your
card
hand
from
for
your
its
hand
warp
for its
cost.
warp cost,
Exile
and
the
then you get it
creature at the beginning of the
temporarily.
next
You have it for
end
this turn
step.
only.
Then you
At the
can
end of
cast
turn,
it from
leaves,
exile on a
goes, hangs
later
out in
turn.
exile, and then you can pay the full retail version later on. It's kind of a
So it
variant
enters, you
on
search your library for a
Adventure or
basic
similar
planes or
mechanics
creature
like
card
that,
mana
except
value
here
1
you
or
are
less,
playing
put
the
it into
same
your
thing
hand.
twice.
And so
then
it
later
warps
you
in,
can
those
pay
will have
5.
enter effects, which are typically good, and then it warps out for you to cast it later. And then that combos so well with
So it doesn't
Void
get to
because
attack, right? It doesn't
Void
gain
is a
haste?
very straightforward mechanic that says, hey, when things leave, I give you a reward.
So Void is a mechanic
That's
that
very,
cares
like,
about things
we've seen
leaving
that
the
in Aether-
battlefield,
in,
or if you have warped a card this
Aether
turn. It
Revolt.
checks both of those things, and it's just a pretty
Wasn't it
clean
called
upgrade
Revolt?
if you manage to make your stuff leave the battlefield before you play these cards.
Really powerful,
Oh,
really
yeah,
straightforward.
Garage,
Makes
I
for
agree.
some really fun combos. This is the Edge of Eternities. This is what magic means.
I see
when
what you're
it's in
saying.
outer space.
Yeah, more playables,
All right, here we go.
more impact on
ship.
formats.
The Sarima.
You got the Sarima?
I did it.
It's a rad looking ship.
Did you find when you work with artists on this set that they were like super psyched for it?
Oh, yes.
Right? Because they hadn't been able to paint these things for
Yeah.
Magic?
Like way more than usual. We had people reaching out and being like, I want to be on the space set.
Yeah.
A lot of our artist pool doesn't normally get to work on space. Spaceships,
No
planets,
haste. But
things
some
that are
warp
large
cards
in
have
scope.
haste
You know,
on
reaching
them.
out to them and saying like, hey,
Void
I
is new
have an
revolt,
assignment.
yeah.
And there was like rumors of the artists always
Yeah,
kind of
David,
talk
it
to
seems
each
like
other.
you can
So they were, like,
interact
kind of
with
waiting
warp
for it.
just
They're like,
because,
yes,
oh,
it's
I
finally
mean, like,
here.
can you
Yeah, I don't
counter
think
it?
I've ever had as large a number of the artist
The
pool
creature's, like,
as
there.
excited to work on.
The creature, it
particular
seems, from a
playing or
warp
setting
card
as
is there for the whole turn, so it can get
so
removed just
incredible.
like a
The
creature
colors that
can.
it brings to Magic.
The lands just hit differently here. I think like there's
Oh,
something
I
about the
see.
vertical
If you can
format
can
that
you
we
warp
don't
more than
normally get
once?
with a
I see,
regular
I see, I
Magic set
see.
because
No,
here
it goes
space
into
goes in all
exile. You
directions,
warp
so,
it,
like,
it goes onto the
plays well
battlefield,
to
it does
the
its
vertical
thing.
card art.
There's so many like,
EOT.
beautiful space vistas
goes in-
where,
damn,
you
those
just
lands
see
look
the
cool.
curve of the
Sorry.
planet on the card,
God,
and
I
you
want
can
all
see,
of those in
ships
foil.
fighting in front of it.
My
Little
entire
spaceships
collection is
zooming
just gonna
through,
become
and the
space
team
lands,
really
y'all.
knocked it out of the park,
Sheesh.
just bringing lands to life.
Sexy.
That's exciting.
That is so beautiful. We brought in the Shocklands, which brings them into standard. Super exciting. for
Ooh,
that
food
reason.
time. I like that.
Those
Warp
Newport
creature
lands were this
stations.
moment of you've just landed on a new planet and you're still on your spaceship.
Those look
and
sick,
the
too.
Door is opening, the ramp is descending. So we kind of incorporated the interior of the ship as
I don't know. I got to
frame,
see these in
but
hand.
Then the art is just
Some of the
this, like,
cards that look like
window,
this. So
and
this looks a
who's
little like the
kind of framed
Tarkir
and
treatment to
looking
me,
out
the black
window
Tarkir
becomes
treatment that
exciting.
was like
Just
the
a lot of
clan
really good
streaks or
storytelling
whatever.
opportunities.
So we have a cycle of returning lands here.
I'm interested
and I
to see if
sort
they
of
look good in
pulled
hand.
some little nuggets that
They
I was
looked fine.
seeing and turned it into a consistent chronicle across them that basically just explores moons. Flavor text is a really fascinating storytelling tool. It gives you those little windows into the world. I like the idea that it was a peek into a grander universe.
The flavor text really gives you this sense of a world that is enormously expansive.
When you crack open a
was looking to
pack,
see if I
you
had
can
any of
kind
those Tarkir
land
cards right
anywhere
next
in
to
the
me. I
midst
don't.
of
I
what's
just put
going
everything
on.
away.
Check it out. I got Celestial Colonnade.
Ooh.
I have a Gengar
Yeah,
V.
Borderless Stellar Sights card.
Anybody looking for a
Lots of good
Gengar
titles
V?
in. It really captures that outer space vibe.
Borderless stellar
These look
sights,
tight.
what we really wanted to do was we wanted to reduce the
Yeah,
footprint
these
of
look
the frame
tight.
on
Actually, do the
cards.
shocks come
We
in
did
this
that by
one?
taking
I want the
title
shocks
down
in
to the
this
bottom
too.
half of the card. And then along the
Please
sides with
give us
frame,
the
it's kind of like a
3-card
star chart, giving
parfait.
that explorative feeling to it.
You get all these like cool, crazy planetary shapes and asteroids and spaceships.
Yeah,
and
warp
things that
exiles.
frame showcases very well. And the borderless poster stellar sights
Oh,
are
Wild
probably
Ace, that's
one of
interesting.
my favorite treatments we've ever done.
The roots of
Okay,
this art
borderless
style
poster
are these,
stellar
like, travel
sights.
posters
They've
that
got to
come
have
out of the
shocks in this one,
1930s.
right?
It's just this really interesting juxtaposition of a kind of anachronistic and nostalgic
Surely.
travel poster style with the
Surely.
super new and novel and futuristic science fantasy setting. That combination is a little
think
bit
this might be a
dissonant, but in
bonus
way
sheet,
that's
y'all.
really interesting and cool.
I don't think that's going to be in
looks really
standard.
The borderless surreal space treatment definitely hits a lot of that classic Magic vibe.
Honestly, that's my favorite thing I've worked on.
Whoa,
in
look at that
Magic
dragon.
ever.
That does
The
look
art
cool.
influences behind it. We dipped really heavily into kind of 1970s science fiction art. They're so like surreal and ethereal.
Whoa,
And
whoa.
especially in like such a bright palette. that
Oh,
we
yeah.
have here
Warp will be good
across
for
all the,
anything that's looking
galactic
for,
clouds and
exiled-
whatnot. It was just
exiled
vibing with
cards.
a lot of people in a way that I haven't seen before.
The borderless triumphant cards were kind of a labor of love and a really fun idea we had. It's where someone is exploring space and they're like looking out and then they're framed by basically a circle.
Yo,
which
that
could
a
be moon
Stelly
or planet.
Reclaimer?
And so each piece has a very
wish that was a
similar
legend.
composition.
Oh, look at that.
That looked
It's one
awesome.
of the borderless
Yeah,
triumphant.
shocks are
that's
super
amazing.
confirmed.
This is a lobster chef. So see, he's tossing his little mushrooms.
Listen, I am very familiar
Right?
with the lobster chef.
Because didn't you paint one for the main set?
I did. My favorite element of this painting is he's got an extra pair of hands, so he's able to.
He did a
hold this
piece?
sprig of time, just like very daintily.
That looks
And
awesome
I like
though.
the idea of him serving up nuts and bolts style like food.
There's a Jello that's got like a whole rusty gear stuck in the top.
Having just little bits of levity like that here and there, I think can be very good for a set. You don't want it to be too one note. Lobster guy making gross food, like, Zach, way to go.
Now it's my turn to open.
Okay.
I'm excited. Check it out. Right? Amazing Sliver Overlord.
Yo.
From me in the parking garage.
No.
I'll tell you a secret about
I'm
the
honest.
borderless
I'm
special
honest
guest
with y'all.
cards.
That looks dope
I
as
would have
hell.
made the whole set look like that if there weren't smarter people around me to like calm me down a little bit. But that pulp cover style, the idea of
This
people in
looks
the 1950s, what they thought the future was going to look like, because really like
so
the
sick to
influence
me.
of the creature design at that time.
God, I love
was
cards that
monster
look like
movies.
this.
People in suits.
They've done
like,
some like
waving
this
their arms
before.
around really awkwardly, and so like the creatures are just like goofy and funny.
But I love
and,
this.
You know, all of the fun typography.
Oh,
That
did I
series
say?
is just
Did I say
one of my
say
favorite
Queen?
things. For
Sorry.
the Japanese showcase Fracture Foil, it was a really exciting opportunity to highlight the art.
Okay, there's a couple of choose odd or even destroy each creature with mana value of the chosen quality, then gain control of all creatures until end of turn untapped, and they gain haste until end of turn. Yo, Mutinous Massacre.
It's just so bold.
Destroy all the odds and steal all the evens. Destroy all the evens and steal all the odds.
That was kind of a no-brainer. Again, we knew from the beginning. You know, it's such a fun effect. It's such a beautiful substrate. And if we're in space,
Damn, Galaxy Foil's in this too. Y'all, there's a
like it's just such a
there's a
fun,
collecting
perfect
article to
comic.
break down on this
I've never
set.
seen it look
Holy
better,
moly.
and fans are absolutely going to go nuts for
So
it.
can I just show this one off just because the lands turned out so good in foil.
When they catch the light.
Yeah.
Galaxy.
Right? Galaxy Foil Swamp.
Proceeds to not show it off very well.
Right?
These look so good.
Yeah.
To achieve the magic look in the art, really like the way we do
Yeah,
it
they
is
did
we
not
work
show it off well just now,
really
but I agree. The
incredibly
Galaxy
skilled
Foil looks
professional
awesome.
Artists. So many
Yeah,
of them are
Rusty, we've got
fans, so
Eldrazi
many
for
of them
sure.
are passionate. It blows my mind how many of them there are. It
Yeah,
seems
David, it's
impossible to
interesting.
me that so
They've
many
really
talented people could work for this game.
They've really injected
Jared, how long
everything
have you been
but
painting for
serialized in
For
here as far as
Magic, I
moves go.
think, since 2005, around then.
So you did concepting for Edge of Eternities, right?
Yes, a lot of the key art characters and then weapons and stuff like that. So I love fantasy, science fiction, space opera. That was really exciting to work on. And
Karen has something to show you.
oh yeah,
Are you excited?
a little bit.
Look, it's your cards from the set.
That's cool.
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your work is so polished and incredible.
Eldrazi.
I always love giving you glowy stuff. Just
Yeah,
the way you
it's
manage the colors around the glows.
Oh, cool.
Especially for this set, just all these like
Yeah.
purples and blues that are blending.
Yeah, warmers versus cools, darks versus lights. Try to have the silhouette kind of standing out.
That looks
not getting
sick.
lost.
Let's get into it with this.
Alpha Real.
I'm gonna-
I think
This
that's
effect that you have here.
Look what Marvel
really
has done to
love water and
costumes.
organic materials. There's just a lot of play that you can do. So you can kind of really get into kind of noodle heaven, I guess.
Yeah.
Being able to sort of undulate through colors and
Everybody in our chat, everybody
Yeah.
in the
Kind of
YouTube
acts
chat.
like a
Pringles,
liquid.
Pringles
Yeah.
bent. They're,
Yeah, it really
they're
does.
Pringles.
Sammy. Yeah. Getting work on Sammy was awesome. Similar to
Oh, I
Alpha
love- yeah,
Real,
for sure.
Kind of wanted their expression to be, pensive, almost troubled, I guess, in a way. Like
Yeah, sure. It's so exciting to see.
MMA.
three
That's what
brand
they
new
do. That's what
characters
this
from
is. It's
Magic.
like
is,
a.
yeah.
It's
you
like
do
a.
a lot of
Let's just
character work for
celebrate
us,
and
but
get
I gotta
excited
say,
about the new
totally
set video.
Oh, cool. Thank
That's
you.
what it's about.
Yeah.
We can poke fun, but we got to expect a little bit of glaze.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's killer. That's an oil painting.
That looks useful.
And once
We
you
haven't.
have
I
it
haven't
out,
seen
you're gonna
Endstone
win.
yet, have we?
Sure hope so.
I haven't seen that one leaked. Whenever you play a land or
Something
cast a,
that
bring it
Andrew,
back.
who is the lead designer of the set, often says is that our sets are way better when we have fun making them, and I really believe that to be true.
I see it every day.
How much fun do you think they had
passion
making
all my
Aether Drift?
coworkers pour into this. We love Magic so much. Most of us got here
Zero
because
fun.
we love Magic.
Edge of Eternities is magic in space.
Did that card say whenever you
It's
play a card, play a
all the
land or
things
draw a
you
card?
want from Magic.
Whenever you
Like
do
you're on a
Magic the Gathering
spaceship,
things.
and there's an alien chasing you.
Yo, look
and
at that
maybe there's
piece.
an alien in your co-pilot seat, and he's your best friend.
That vibrancy, that richness. Of
Yeah, Keelan, I'm with
when
you.
you see something, you pick up a card.
Oh, I see.
and
I
you're
see.
like, whoa.
I see MMA. I got you. I got
That
you.
moment, to me, that makes it all worthwhile.
It's going to feel like they're traveling really far away, but it's going to feel like home for them at the same time.
I hope fans are excited to see it. I really do.
The promise of space means so
Well,
many different
Bacon,
things
I
to so
think
many
you're going to
different
have a good
people,
chance to pick
and
up a
it's
sliver here.
New places, it's new things, it's new people, it's new planets.
And so I hope that
Oh,
feeling
that looks
of
useful.
expansiveness and the care and creativity that was put into crafting the scale of the setting really comes across.
That
and
looks
I
insane.
Hope that the Edge is a place that fans love to visit for the first time, and also that our first visit sort of piques their interest to see more, because we've built this environment in such a way that there's so much more to discover.
It's like a Marvel movie, got a teaser at the end. Any post-credits scenes? Nope, that's it. Seems like that's it. Let us see. Let us see. If it's it, we're going to run back, look at some more cards. Will somebody go to their Twitch? I'm pretty sure that they are going to like go live on Twitch. I just need to double check. Yeah, Nico, I'm with you. So that all looks super sick. I'm actually very into it. AZ, I don't know if the Super Void is serialized. Might be. Let's run it back and look at some of the cards that we saw. Bum, bum, bum. We're gonna go from the end because I want to see what the heck that thing was she was holding. When did they say that looks useful? Those were the lands. Those look curled. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, where's that end stone? Here we go. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. Oh, it's a 7-mana legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, your life total becomes half your starting life total rounded up. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. At the beginning of your end step, your life total becomes half your starting life total rounded up. So sometimes that's going to be a good thing. Sometimes that's going to be a bad thing. Sliver Eldrazi Meld? What are you talking about? 7 mana for the end stone. Thank you, Empirical. Magic the Gathering. There we go, chat. Brought to you by Heinz. Not sponsored.
Artifact with 2 tap. Sacrifice this token. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it into the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle. So this sort of land searching. I mean, we see it on a green.
Oh,
card
interesting.
Here. Is this a specific sort of green
Destruction
ramp ability?
instant.
Are we seeing this in all colors? Where does Lander show up?
Landers are on all 5 colors, and so and it sort of evolved a bit.
Yeah, Endstone can get cheated out a couple of different ways. Cool,
the
cat.
initial version of Lander tokens.
A few different decks.
Double-face tokens.
My
that we
Lara
saw
Croft
in
deck is
Mark's
interested in
Machine,
it.
where they were an artifact on one side.
My
You could
Dahada
pay
deck
2
is
mana
kind
to
of interested in
transform
it.
them, and they were an artifact land on the other side that could tap for any color that any of your lands could produce.
Okay.
But Andrew, why don't you tell us where things went from there?
Yeah, so after the flip tokens, we took out DFCs from the set, and then we kind of had this infrastructure for the landers still in there, so we had to figure out how we wanted to change them to kind of fit with the rest of the set.
Bar, what's up?
So we went to the sacrifice version to get a basic
Mitch,
land
what's
from your
up?
deck onto the battlefield tapped. We also liked that version better because it also fixed your mana instead of just kind of putting you in the
Yeah, I
same
mean,
situation
20
we
every
had
turn.
with, the
Not bad.
Reflecting Pool-esque lineup
As
deck.
the aggressor player,
Now, obviously,
most
we've only
times,
started
a
talking
20 life
about
total
Texas
does look
set,
pretty
but
tasty to me. I can
presumably
probably
just
do
watched
20
the
in one
debut
turn
video.
if I've
So
built a good aggressive deck.
where, Lander, this sort of token, we've seen it before with glue, with food. It's sort of a glue mechanic that
Yeah.
holds a lot of things in the set together.
Right.
So How does this token matter for other things in the set?
Yeah, so the token matters a ton in the set infrastructure. So for example, the black-red theme is sacrificing creatures or artifacts. Landers are a great thing to sacrifice if you have too much mana and you have a loose token around. It also really works super well with the void mechanic that we'll see later on. And it also helps with the warp mechanic, as Ethan was saying, in a set where you want to have a lot of mana. With warp, you want to have a lot of mana to cast the second side of your cards. So landers kind of work with all of the mechanics and kind of tie in and make the gameplay mesh.
Now we do have a second lander card to show off, which has a little bit of a twist on creating them. So this is Emergency Eject. 2 and a white instant, destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a lander token. Are we going to see a lot of giving your opponent
destroy target non-land permanent? Its controller creates a lander token. Would you rather them have a lander or a 3/3?
A lander token. But like Ethan was saying, landers show up in all colors, and this is a very white way to create a lander token. So white removal generally always
feel like
attackers or blockers, or if it's more unconditional like this,
definitely don't want to get
give the
you
opponent
ramped.
a cookie, like what's the
But it is a basic.
Yeah, it's a
so if we're hitting the right deck, they're failing to find.
All right, and then we've got the lander tokens we can show as well. So there are 5 of them that you can pull from booster packs. They're going to look a little something like
There's
that.
our lander tokens,
so you can
chat.
see each of the 5 major civilizations from the Sothera system are represented on these lander tokens, and they're all color aligned.
All right.
Well, there you go.
Work well, right? Because you go and
Lander is a token artifact.
You go get an island.
Does this matter?
I got to remind myself of that.
All right, now let's move on to a
MMA. I
slightly
think
bigger.
I think it's going to hit
So this
both.
is Station, one of the more exciting new additions.
I believe that they are less
tell us about
worried about
One of the most
Commander with this set.
important ideas that we wanted to get across.
But when I
with
say
Edge
that, it also
Eternities is
sounds
the
silly
concept
coming
of
out of my mouth.
scale. We wanted this to be
The last
biggest
2 sets
Magic
have been
set
very
ever, or
Commander-centric,
at least the
though.
biggest since the Rise of the
Tarkir,
Eldrazi.
minus
If
Corey
we could manage
Steelcutter,
that, we'd be in good
and then
shape.
Final
And
Fantasy
one of the things that space operas
were
often have are
very
gigantic spaceships,
Commander-focused, it
huge
felt.
ships, vast planets.
Spider-Man, we're not getting any
and
Commander
sort of
decks,
try to
and we're
blow
only getting
people's
2 from
mind
this set.
with how
And neither of
scale
them
so
is
much
really,
larger
maybe
than
with the exception of that populate robot.
So
No, is it a populate robot? It's a
made
proliferate
these,
robot.
Spacecraft with a brand new
Kilo,
mechanic called
Kylo, whatever it
Station,
is.
where you can
What's up, Hans?
tap your creatures to put charge counters on them equal to their power, and then they have a threshold at which they get powered up, become more
So we'll see.
powerful. So most of them have some effect immediately. So the Serima here, searches for a legendary creature card. But then once you get 7 charge counters on it, it becomes a huge spaceship. That can
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Garage. Well, I mean, I think that's also
and
like
some of them have more than one of
they
these,
made the secondary or the primary commanders of the
abilities are
precon
unlocked.
spaceships.
We'll get to see some bigger.
I believe
spaceship
is what I've
cards
heard.
later.
Well, I mean, we can make that later now. We can throw up. So
Food
our
time,
next
that's a good
one
point.
Is actually, I believe, from the Commander
That's a really good point.
product. So when we
There'll be one that's like 2 or 3 mana.
Nope, never mind. Wrong one. Let's show Infinite Guideline Station, not from the Commander product. We'll get to those in a moment.
Whoa!
So this is Infinite Guideline Station, and also doesn't. I'm completely.
That
off
thing's
book,
crazy
so
looking.
This one does not have.
What is
2
that
different things, but,
frame on the left?
Talk a little bit about Infinite Guideline Station before we get to the ones with 2 levels.
Right. This is the base of the Pinnacle organization, if I'm not mistaken, who are sort of.
Is that the first time we've ever seen anything like that?
That is trying to keep the peace between everybody and keep things going.
When Infinite
smoothly,
Guideline
whereas
Station
all
enters,
the
create a
other
tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token for each multicolored permanent you control.
It's kind of like, can't we all just get along here? So it's a rainbow color.
You can station it for 12 to make a
So we'll get to those
7/15 with
in a
flying.
second. This is a new card subtype. What were some of the
So is
challenges
this not a target
in
creature?
designing these stations?
The main challenge with designing Station.
Oh, it
is
becomes an
mainly
artifact
around
creature at 12
the
plus. Got it.
tempo of the game. So normally,
Yeah,
when you
for
play an
border-ish
artifact
frame
like
spec. That's what I'm
this one
saying.
that just costs 5 mana. It's a pretty big tempo loss, and
Ooh,
with
Mass
Station,
Effect
you
would
do
be
have to
fun, Bacon.
Have creatures. And
I feel like
charge them
people
up.
would really
So a lot of the things
buy
we did were
Mass
mitigate
Effect.
that
I know
tempo
Garage the
loss
Gathering
here.
would
So,
buy
for example,
everything
in
that was
Guideline
Mass Effect.
Station, You'll get a lot of robots.
Yes,
if
Beck,
you
I
have
see
a lot
that
of
now. I
multi-going
missed that
creatures.
last little bit
And as you'll
of
see more of these cards
rules
come out,
text
you'll
next to
also
station.
see more of them.
Only on the
they
one on the
interact
left.
With the board, they may accrue you resources immediately to kind of mitigate that immediate loss of tempo of just playing a big expensive thing that just sits around for a little bit.
Okay. And, so far we've seen some rare stations, big splashy effects. Are there lower rarity stations that we're going to see?
Yes, we're going to see a lot of lower rarity station cards.
A lot of lower rarity stations.
Pretty key integral part to limited. A lot of the infrastructure around that is kind of
Oh, interesting. So lots of like tap shenanigans.
station shine. One thing that I'll like.
What
to
was
call
that
out
green
once we
creature from
see
Duskmorn that
warp
was like, if this
mechanic
thing's
is
tapped,
how
you
well
can
those
smack your opponent in the face?
Mechanics really synergize together.
That makes sense. All right, now let's see the commander face cards. So when we revealed the commander decks sometime ago,
Here we go.
revealed sort of the secondary
Hearthhull,
but
the world seed. Oh, nice. You can spread your seed in commander chat.
decks.
Enjoy.
So here we have
2+, pay
Hearthhull,
1, tap it,
the
sack a
world
land,
seed,
draw
and
2. You can play an
as we
additional
can see,
land this turn.
multiple levels. So
8+, flying Vigi, haste,
Yeah,
6,
so
7. When you
the
sack
first
a
level
land,
here
each
gets
opponent
unlocked when
loses
you
2
have
life.
2 or more charge counters on it. So pretty quickly you can get to the point where you're sacking lands to draw.
The world seed.
And then eventually you'll have time to get to that.
Kona,
8+,
thank you. Yes,
which is when
Bar,
it
Nico,
becomes
Moonanites, thank
a
you.
win condition.
Nailed it.
A giant
Yes, Obi.
flying, artifact creature. You'll notice it doesn't say this can be your commander.
Hedge yourself and then spread that world seed.
To allow these spacecraft to be your commander.
All right.
Right on there. As you can see, there's a lot of words on this card already, so not a lot of room for anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's what
when
I'm
it
saying,
levels up,
Spec,
this
is like, it's not that hard to play some cards that say sack all your lands.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and it actually even turns into a creature when it hits that 8+, right? So if they
Not
the ones
junk.
that have 2 levels, you'll see a power toughness earlier if it wakes up as a smaller version.
Yeah, I don't think there are any that do that, but we could have done it.
Yeah,
maybe it was just playtesting.
There are no stations that turn onto a creature
Entish.
Before their final level.
Roiling.
While we were developing it.
Sylvan Safekeeper is like, I hope
noticed
you
that,
win the
like,
game.
You have to put a dice on it to track it, and then sometimes that can be a little difficult. So
Get Rog.
one of the things we
Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Cards like Zuran Orb. These exist where you can just like straight up say, I'm done with all my lands.
All right, let's see.
Sack
the
everything. Each
second
opponent loses
commander
2
face
life.
Card from Counter
Ay-yay.
Intelligence.
Just junk them out, baby. Carl Young them out.
There it is.
Look at the
Instant
art on
flagship
that!
Vessels. So blue, red, and white.
Station. 1+ at the beginning of combat on your turn. Put your choice of a +1/+1 counter or 2 charge counters on up to 1 other target artifact.
The name of the deck is a pun, and this is all about counters. It's all about charge counters.
8+ other artifacts you control have hexproof and indestructible.
Counters in this deck, which
Man, that thing looks cool, but
cool and exciting,
it's not super exciting to me.
we haven't really done before in a commander.
But it looks so sweet.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about Station while we were developing is
Hang on.
we were debating on what
Charge, counter, sort, EDH rec, commander, just got.
Because it was flavorful in terms of, you build up your station, you charge it up, and also
I just built a Jeskai deck with Elsha.
around charge counters.
I haven't really found one that like sticks with me though. Look at all these charge counter cards, y'all. There's 101 cards that have the word charge and counter in their text.
Station itself is a sorcery, but if you do happen to get an extra charge counter on at instant speed, all of a sudden, right, you've turned your
we can play Otherworld Atlas. Each player draws a card for each charge counter. Ooh.
Nice surprise. Okay, let's
Hexproof
move on
and
to our
indestructible.
next mechanic, which
Austin,
we've
they gotta
referenced a
farewell
few
ya.
times. Warp. So let's take a look at Warp. What's Warp?
Okay, so those commanders were
Warp
cool.
represents the ability of traveling faster.
I'm
than
least
light,
excited
which is
about
a
the Jeskai ship.
staple of the space opera genre. You've got to
But
be
I'm
able
also
to get
not
to other
super excited
planets,
about
and you
Kylo.
don't have several years to do it, so you got to
proliferate.
cheat on relativity. So yeah, we made this mechanic to represent that, and it allows you to cast the creature for a lower cost.
Well, Decaf, you can turn it
but
into
the
a Jeskai
creature will
deck
go
now.
into exile at the end of the
Ooh, a
turn.
Dead Space Secret Lair would go super hard.
You can cast it
And they
again
would be
from
able to get
exile for
around
full
guns in
price
that.
later.
Because the
So-
iconic weapon is
and
like a
many
tool,
of
right?
these either have haste or have.
Is it a
enters the
mining tool or a
battlefield
repair
triggers or
tool?
leaves the battlefield
Can't remember what it
triggers,
is.
So that you kind of generate some value along the way, which I'm
Yeah.
sure you appreciate.
Power conduit spike.
Well, it is very reminiscent of Evoke as well, but I do, you know, I love the flavor of it, like you said, cheating, like beating activity. But how, you know, did you all
It's
start
like
with the
somebody's been
idea
looking
that
at the
you wanted
leaks.
to represent faster than light travel as a mechanic? Did you start with this mechanic? How did this one come to be?
This was more of a top-down. It's like, okay, we know we're going to be going faster than light. We're going to have to go into hyperspace, right? And what does hyperspace mean in Magic? We have all these different zones, and
I just put that in the patron section of chat.
But it seemed like the exile zone was sort of the most outer space.
Wow, wow, wow. Look at this.
Extra-dimensional place, traditionally speaking, for Magic. So that was where we ended up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What made it jump last year?
Let's see our
Charge
first
counters
card
and
in
murders?
Warp, which is Weft Stalker Ardent. 2 in a red.
Plasma Cutter,
for
thank you,
Grix
Spec.
Artificer. 2/3. Whenever another creature artifact you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage.
Oh my god, we have another one of these effects now?
So, talk about the shape of, like, is the warp cost always less
Holy
than
moly.
the casting cost? Or is what sort
I
of
spelled that wrong.
abilities did you put on these? What are we hoping to see here?
So a lot of the time with warp, not every single time, the warp costs will be cheaper than the casting costs of the actual creature. And like Ethan was saying, you'll generally have a enters the battlefield effect, maybe haste.
Oh yeah,
or a lot of
Panharmonicon
the
likes
time
warp
you'll
as long
have
as the creature
an
says
or
enters the
enchantment-like
battlefield.
ability on this card right here.
Look at this. Stuff like Agate
this one doesn't
Instigator. I feel like we're
generate
getting one of
value
these
itself,
once
you
per
need to
set nowadays.
Combine it with some other
Mostly in red.
And like I was saying earlier with the station mechanic,
Yeah.
where it requires you to have creatures.
Yeah, exactly,
the warp
DJ.
and
That's
the
what I'm
station
saying.
mechanic
White
really
token,
interact
white
very
token
favorably,
doublers,
as you can get
and Perfros God of the
more
Forge
expensive or
effects.
higher power creature for
Witty
cheap.
Roastmaster,
So when you have a station out, you can warp your creature.
Agate
you can have its
Instigator,
enters
Molten
effect,
Gatekeeper.
You can have its enchantment
Enduring
effect,
Courage is
then you
not
can
the
also
same, but
tap it to
close.
put, charge counters on your station. So
Wasn't there one more?
works well.
Devilish Valet, but the other way.
You
Got a lot of those
don't need
happening right
haste
now.
For using station.
That's correct.
Right? Although if the creature itself has haste, then it can attack.
More
Otherwise,
love
it's
for my
just moving
Prosh
around.
deck.
Tapping
Right.
it's the perfect use.
All right, let's see our next card with
You
warp.
can see this is a Drix. This is a new species.
Y'all go
Oh, yeah,
follow me
this
on
is the
Moxfield.
first time. These are an alien species that have the natural ability to warp themselves. Everyone else has to
go to
use
my bench.
spaceships, but the Drix can do it.
There it is.
Biologically somehow.
Very cool.
This deck
All right,
definitely
let's see
getting
our
a
next
new
preview
card,
which is
as you can
Highlight
see.
Color, another card with warp. This one has
Molten
a slightly
Gatekeeper,
different warp cost.
Perforos, Agate
Yeah.
Instigator.
So when we were thinking about once we had the
I don't even have. Oh no, yeah, Molten
exact
Gatekeeper.
mechanics for warp, you kind of go to level 2, which is like what are the cool ways to use this ability? And one of my favorite old cards.
This kinda looks
is
like Gravecrawler.
So this is kind of a mix of putting that card's mechanics with warp, so you can warp this card from your graveyard.
Julian,
at
not really,
the cost
because
of an extra
no,
2
not
dice.
really at all. Because the thing goes on to the battlefield. It's a cast.
You don't
It's
even
almost
need a
like
zombie,
evoke. It's closer to
All
evoke.
right, next up we have use.
Except instead of getting sacrificed, dying, and going to the
So this is
graveyard,
an enchantment with warp.
it goes to exile and you can recast it for its
So enchantments
full mana
naturally
cost.
make for great warp cards, as they're essentially like, I can get this for a cheaper cost, only for 1 turn, and then I can cast it later. You'll also see that
This is
landfall
very
is
interesting.
making a return
This is
here,
like
which also
turn
synergizes
3
really well with the
2/2.
What
Warp
sort
this
of-
in
so
on
you've
turn
seen
3 with
creatures,
2
you've seen
mana.
enchantments.
Play your
What are we
land to
expecting
create a
see warp
2/2.
You can expect to see warp on basically all card
Go.
types except
All right, that was
lands.
cute.
Okay. All permanent types or spells too?
Not spells, mostly permanent types and not planeswalkers.
Okay. Next up, we have.
Yes, landfall is an
Bygone
evergreen mechanic now, Grim.
So this is my favorite warp card in the set.
Mine too.
It was originally called
Yo.
Combo Golem for a very long time.
I was just
Because
about to
that's
say,
essentially all
what
it
can we
does.
do with one turn of a
So there are so
9/9
many
on
different
turn
ways to use
3?
This card, if you'll notice,
We
like,
can
a lot
do
of the
something.
station numbers are really high. This card just essentially gets you those at a really low cost. You can also use flicker spells from Magic's
Surely.
Path to warp it in and then just flicker it, and then it will come back onto the
Surely
battlefield.
we can do something with one turn of a
There are so many different
9/9.
ways to use this card, and it's super fun to think about. So this one's my favorite. For
Ooh, station anything? So you can station with a non... you can
It's
station with a
definitely
summoning sick
on
creature,
purpose.
right?
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
Ethan, so we were
I
talking
mean,
a little
fling,
bit
I
about this
mean-
beforehand. The few little bits about the Eldrazi here and there. So here we see this in the flavor text as well. The edge is littered with the vestiges of civilizations annihilated by the Eldrazi. For those who haven't been reading the stories, what sort of tidbits are we seeing about the Eldrazi in this?
Well, there are
Yes,
hints
okay, so
that
you can
there
station
was
with
some sort of
summoning
ancient
sick creatures, but at
conflict
sorcery speed. I get that,
between
okay.
The Fomori and the Eldrazi, and we've
Yeah,
seen
that's
a lot
what
of
I'm
the
saying,
Eldrazi
Spec.
in the past in various Magic sets. We've seen hints about the Fomori here and there, especially
Yeah, it's crewing.
recently.
Gotcha.
But a lot of it is pretty distant and ambiguous. But we know that it was incredibly destructive, and basically the Eldrazi were driven out of the edge, and everybody has to kind of be alert, pay attention, because if the Eldrazi come back, that needs to be nipped in the bud. We can't let any Eldrazi come back here.
They were like, we got to get an Eldrazi set going again, and if we just do Zendikar with Eldrazi again, people are going to get bored.
Here and there, it was clearly
I don't know if I'm excited about either one, Bart.
Let's move on
I think
to
I'm
our
going.
last
This might be a
mechanic
set
that
where
we're
I either
gonna
build a
discuss here,
commander from the main
which
set,
is
or
Void.
it just injects a bunch of new cards into my
Void
decks,
is
and I look
less
backwards for
about
new commander builds.
classic space
It's always a good
opera
time to do
trope
that when you
stuff
hit
that
a set where you're like, this looks sick, but I'm just
specifically
not
inspired
being
by the
drawn to any
world
commanders right
building
now.
that The world building.
I'll tell you though, when I start
we
building
all
a
got
commander,
really excited
I
about
typically
the
get drawn
Monolith
to it.
faction, which is the
If I just
black
start messing around with the deck
They
list, and
worship
so
the sort
very
of
likely
black
when I go to
Polish
do an
object
upgrade on
in the
this, I'm going to
center of the
choose one of the
Synchro
two
system
commanders for
and
each
have
upgrade,
all this,
obviously,
like,
and I'll get
creepy
interested in one.
costumes.
Yeah,
And
Box League is a
think
whole
that,
thing for this set
they
too,
wanna
right,
usher
Spec?
in the
It's starting there
time
now.
when every molecule in the universe
I wasn't lucky enough to be an ambassador on this one. I've got a box on order.
Then we'll all be together.
I'm not gonna be
again
here
with our
early
big
though,
loved
so I
ones
got to
or
slam
whatever.
that video out once I get my box.
So, super cool.
But I'm
We
definitely gonna
loved
make a
it,
build a box
and,
or a build
so
a
we
deck
made
from a
mechanic that
box
was kind of specially
in
for
line
them.
with the
They
box
were
league.
clearly, like the standout faction. I like the other four factions just fine, but the Monoliths were just like so unique.
Yeah, MMA. There's a lot of cool looking stuff.
So we made
Fractured
this void
Japanese
mechanic,
serialized
which
or
is
fractured
sort of a
Japanese
variant
showcase
of
stuff is
Morbid
back in this one. All of the galaxy foils are going to be really high demand, I think.
One of your permanents leaves the battlefield, a non-land permanent leaves the battlefield, sort of void is active.
Yeah.
And it also gets activated when you warp a card. So when you pay that warp
Yeah, I'll do a
cost,
spec.
is another way to get your void online. And basically your cards will have abilities that trigger only if something has left the battlefield or been
Yeah,
warped.
Oscar, I'm honestly down with it.
I'll
The next time we have an Eldrazi led set, it being a return to the
tag
edge.
To see that things have left. And there's lots of ways to make things leave.
That sounds
You know,
pretty cool.
We've got warp, we've got the lander tokens. It's all set up for us. So there's a lot of ways to interact with it.
And
Yeah,
and
Bar,
I'll
I'm with
gloss
you.
over the part that you said at the top of that.
I'm
which
going to
was
really load up on
non-land.
lands from this set.
Was that a lesson you all learned from Revolt?
I wasn't even.
What do you mean by lesson?
Was that an intentional differentiation? How about that?
I even liked
I think
these.
So. Like when we're like creating these environments and things have to feel flavorful, like
These looked a
land
little
leaving the
goofy, but
battlefield,
I
especially
can get
with,
down
like,
on some
fetch
weird,
lands
cool
and
looking
newer
spacey
formats.
lands.
It does feel kind of cheaty, and it doesn't really feel.
So I'm definitely
naturally
gonna.
like
Oh,
Magic,
sick,
so,
Bar. Hell yeah.
we
You've
intentionally left
you've
off
got a
like
better chance of getting that secret
sure
layer
that
now.
we can
Just from
actually
joining
give you
our
a bigger
Discord.
reward. So
Yeah.
like if we leave land on, then we have to kind of
Go join
make
that
sure
Joel R
things
Magic
aren't
Discord. Look,
as
the islands
powerful
too.
because we know that it's really easy to skirt that. But if we add non-land, we can make things look more awesome.
So I was already in on like space lands as a thing.
Makes sense.
I'm
All right, let's take a
definitely
look at some Void preview cards. First up, we have Decode
definitely showing them off after this one. Or from this set.
So this is the sort of normal.
Draw
you
2, lose
cards
2.
You see that in a lot of sets.
Void is.
But then Void
So they were
says,
just talking about the fact that Void is non-land. Revolt would trigger
Instead, you draw 2
off of a sack land, off a fetch land.
Yeah, so it's the classic.
They've made this one so that that is not the case.
Yep, we'll be seeing that.
Hey,
And then let's see our
Yishtola Builders,
second
by the
Void
way.
card,
Instead, you draw
which
2
is
cards and each
Void
opponent loses 2 life.
Titan.
This is a spell that one casts to lose an opponent. All
4
the
to black
opponent's 4,
for a robot
triggering
warrior,
your
5/4
end
at
step.
the beginning of your end step.
Beginning of your end step.
If you voided. You draw a card and you lose 1.
Or a spell was warped.
Yeah, so this is more of a limited build around.
Yeah, I was going to say, this feels like limited, but cool.
If you play into
Ketramos decks are eating, though. Garage the Gathering.
Notice that a lot of the void
Warp
triggers happen at the end
and
step.
all of the
a lot
warp
of that is to ensure
significant
that you have
pieces
enough time to warp a creature or
are
post
going to be
combat,
sick
so things are done.
in the Ketramos deck.
And you mentioned, Ethan, that this was black line. Are all void cards black? Are there any that seep into other colors?
Yeah, there are a lot of void cards on red cards as well.
Okay.
It's primarily
SpaceX,
red and
Travis.
black.
I like that.
All right, cool. All right.
That was from
now we're
Infinity,
gonna
Julian.
move
Those are from the
into
most recent
slightly
set.
less structured part of the program where we just show off some cards.
about
These
these?
are cool cards. We're showing them off for a reason. For various reasons, but they're not as organized as being about mechanics. So we're just going to show some cool cards and talk about them. Let's start with Emissary Escort. So Emissary Escort, 1 and a blue for a 0/4 robot
Whoa.
soldier, artifact creature. This creature gets
Chunky
+X
bear.
+0, where X is the greatest mana value among other artifacts you control. Tell us about this card.
No, Brad.
With
So,
Edge of Eternities,
yeah,
and
no.
all
So
space
Nico,
operas,
Brad,
we
Spec.
always were gonna
Atlanta
gravitate towards
is
artifacts,
fully
so there are
themed
gonna be a
to
lot of
Edge of
artifact
Eternities.
build-arounds in this set.
But I promise you the
And
focus is
Emissary
going to be
Escort
Spider-Man because
is
that's what's
one
going to be
in a long line
releasing.
of those cards.
It's going to be like if you were in
but
Vegas
as we will
or you
see
saw
in
any
the
pictures
next
of Vegas.
slide-
Vegas was fully Tarkir themed.
Yes,
But
we're finding more and
all
more
Final
ways
Fantasy, you know what I'm
that
saying?
these cards combo together. One
Yeah,
of my
there we
favorite
go.
things just about Edge of
Turn 2,
Eternities in
Emissary
general is
Escort.
how
Turn 3,
well all
Warp
the
in, Bygone
mechanics kind of
Colossus. Swing
mesh
for
and flow
9.
together. They all synergize really well together, and we hope that players discover stuff like this.
That'll be silly.
And can figure out how awesome it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the technology in space opera is so important that it was.
But yeah, it's become clear with the cons that they
have
don't get the full licenses for
Yeah, and just like it combos with
whatever
Bygone
they
Colossus,
need
right?
to make
The
a
Escort
convention
combos
covered in that
well
stuff
with
too.
your artifact spacecraft because they'll typically have higher mana values, which gives the Escort more power. Works so well with Station.
We got robots and constructs in MTG now.
Well, and I also like, when you start looking
now,
at older formats too, cards with affinity work really well with this. Your classic Mirror Enforcer is going to do a 7/4.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah.
A lot going
Okay,
on here
yeah.
for a-
They'll decorate with EOE, but it's going to all be Spider-Man. All the events are going to be Spider-Man.
Now
All
let's
that's.
take a look at an
This set
uncommon
will feel
called
old and in the
Unravel.
past by then.
Unravel is 1 blue and blue instant. You probably
There's
already
the
know
same
what it's
amount
gonna
of
do.
time I
Counter
read. I
target
haven't
spell.
confirmed this, but there's
If
the
the
same
amount
amount
of
of
mana
time
spent to cast that spell
between Bloomborough and Duskmorn last year as there is between EOE and Spider-Man this year. So however that felt to you from Bloomborough to Duskmorn is how far it's going to be between those two sets.
One of the design heuristics we like to hold to is, it shouldn't be better. You shouldn't be worse off for trying to cast your spell. So designs like
Spider-Man
Dismiss or whatever
collectors
we
at
try to stray away
600.
from. But with Unravel, we do like to punish kind of the cheating on mana or casting things for less than the casting cost.
If you're not doing something fair, I'm not going to do
Exactly,
something fair.
exactly. So Unravel is our attempt at that, and then in this set, the main thing that it will be countering
alright.
is warp spells. One of the things we were finding internally is that warp introduces a lot of resources into the game. So we definitely
Hometown,
wanted
what's up?
something
Everybody
to
say hey to
punish you
Hometown.
for
Yeah, Hometown.
casting
Jank
your
really
warp
wants
spells
me
for
to be.
Very cool.
Really wants me to be
All right,
J. Joel
next
Jameson.
Up, we have Sunset Saboteur.
If Jank is still hanging out.
1 and a black. Human Rogue, 4/1 Menace, Ward, discard a card.
Minache 4/1.
And whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature an opponent controls.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a funky one.
Spider-Man ain't gonna flop.
one of my favorite tropes in the space opera genre.
Dude, I was talking about it when I was talking about it on the online the other day. I've got a whole video just made and sitting there about going like, what are y'all talking about? How's it possible that Spider-Man set fails?
4/1 menace for 2 mana
Y'all
with
are off
ward
your
discard
rockers.
a card. That's a really, really, really good deal. But we have that line of text at the bottom, which is kind of a downside, or if you are able to manage your opponent's creatures, not a downside.
I was going to say.
How could black possibly?
It's funny because you want to remove the creatures so that you don't have to do the downside, but removing the creatures makes Menace completely irrelevant.
Kind of perusing as a white aligned character.
Well, and Turian, we
Jank really wants me to be J. Joel Jameson.
We kind of blew by the first one we saw, but extended art is a booster fun variant. Can you talk a little
Bring
bit
me
about
pictures
what
of fracture
cards
foils.
got those this treatment in the set, and then where you can find those?
Yeah, we've seen a couple of extended art cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch that show,
here.
Food.
So in extended art cards, you can find they're in the collector booster, and typically, we try. Upcoming, we're going to be looking at so many fun variants that we've done. We also try to make sure that basically every rare
Ward of Discard a card is pretty sick.
At least one variant.
That keeps the burn deck from just pinging this with a little one damage spell, eh?
Art in that way, where
Because
here
they
it
get
is,
behind a
here's
card
an
that
upgraded
sucks for the
version
burn
where
deck.
You can see just a bit more of the art, and it just
Yeah, Damien, I get you.
Looks a little extra.
It's accurate.
All right, and are these found just in collector boosters?
Yeah, extended art are in the.
Yeah, Biss, we've seen one Eldrazi and one little sliver
right,
thing.
let's move on to
I think they're
another
more just
card with
mentions
an
to get people
extended
interested in
version.
buying
This is
things.
Frenzied Baloth.
To give a little bit of
green and green for a 3/2. This spell can't be countered. It's got trample. It's got haste.
Hi,
Other
power
creature
creep.
spells you control can't be
Nice to
countered.
meet you.
Combat damage can't be prevented. Andrew, this feels like one that was came from your world.
Did they put any text on this?
As you've properly identified, this is a very play-designed card.
Can't believe they've got
But I think it also speaks to a lot
flavor
of
text on here.
what happens in space opera, where they go to a planet and there's this giant, ferocious monster.
Is this
that
good enough for
causes
modern?
Nothing but havoc and mayhem.
Spec?
And I think all of those lines of text just kind of add up to craziness, wildness, and yeah.
There's a lot of people calling this Questing Beast Junior.
That is accurate.
Was that sort of intentional?
Yeah,
or did it
bar
just
shocks
sort
are
of
in the
end up
set.
that way?
To call the Questing Beast ever intentional is a bit of a wild statement.
Nobody sets out to make a Questing Beast.
No, Nico, I haven't watched Avatar.
Don't make me tell you the story of the Questing Beast.
No, Grim, for sure not, but it's still Marvel.
One day we will tell the story of the Questing Beast. Today is not that day.
It's upstairs. I got it.
All
Anytime
right.
you want.
Tell us the story of the Frenzied Baloth, though.
Yeah, so when we were
were they talking
thinking
about?
about which cards we wanted to introduce into Standard, you might see a few mono green, or specifically green aligned cards that we're going to shoot for a mono green aggressive deck. We haven't really seen that a lot in recent years, and this is one of our attempts at a card that you might want to play in a deck like that.
All right. Next up,
might want
we're
to.
going to have a different treatment, which is the card is Genomorph Imago.
Yep.
Cool.
Gene morph.
Green and a blue for
What?
a creature insect druid. It's a 1/3. It's got flying. Then it's got this landfall ability. Whenever a land you control enter, target creature has base power and toughness 3/3 until end of turn. If you control 6 or more lands, that creature has base power and toughness 6/6 until end
That's
of turn.
pretty
So
sweet.
let's talk about the card first, then we'll talk about the treatment.
Yeah, so when we were coming up with a lot of landfall designs, we definitely wanted something a
Fetch
little
it
bit
instant
more
speed, turn it into a
aggressive, 'cause
3/3.
Normally, landfall designs kind of
Fetch it
tend to the
instant
slower
speed, turn it
side.
into 6/6.
And we've never really made a
Target creature?
blue-green aggressive landfall style card, so this is our attempt at it. And one of the other things I
like
really
that
like about
borderless
this is
triumphant art.
when you have a lander token
That art
out
on the right looks sick.
battlefield, this can really
Looks really
put
cool
a
to
lot
me.
of wrenches in your opponent's combat plan.
Yeah. Seems pretty easy to attack if this is a 3/3 flyer. Or
Yeah, I think they're just. I think somebody's sick, and so
okay,
somebody's
Turian,
coughing a lot.
let's go to you now. So borderless triumphant cards. Tell us about these.
Yeah. So Sarah was talking about them some in the in the debut video.
Why does that have a
saw,
legendary
but,
crown
you know,
frame
we
on the
wanted
right?
to capture all, you know, outer space is just filled with these moments in media and visuals, you know, and
Oh,
one thing
Tifa in
that,
this, that's interesting.
really comes clear.
Yeah,
is
Jess,
this
I was
idea of
just
this,
saying, like, what?
hero image, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times, it's
What
the
is
astronaut in front of the moon.
that?
Is the typical
I'm a
one
stike.
that we see, and so you know,
I wonder if
we
it's
were
going to be
inspired by
the
that,
print like
and
that.
in here, we went.
That's
and we
interesting.
Took, a number of our creatures as well
Whoops.
as Tezzeret, and really put them in this
Simic
like, very
Tifa already looked good.
hero-esque pose, right?
This
And
is making her gas.
they're centered. Typically, it's a moon or a sun, you know, directly behind them, and it just really elevates, I think. The
So if you
character and
double,
the
well, I
visuals.
guess you'd have to
So
stack the
that's what we've
triggers
done
so
here
that
with the
you
Borderless Triumphant cards.
change her base power toughness to
The
either
last
3/3
thing
or
I'll say
6/6,
on
and
the mechanics on
then
this card, though,
do the
is
double.
that
Yeah.
It is not just this creature; it is target creature.
Yep.
So if you find a way to get 2
There you go.
lands
That's
to the
exactly
battlefield
right,
during your
Grim.
turn, you can target a
Somebody
different creature.
buzzed
This
the
thing can really
one on the
wrap
right has a legendary crown around its name.
Yeah, and then
This
in
is a
terms of,
non-legendary
where you can
creature.
find them,
Um,
they're in play
I'm
boosters,
interested
collector boosters, both.
Okay.
So
if maybe this is their
they're-
attempt at making everything
you'll get
commander,
them,
like everybody
you know,
says.
fairly often.
Now even
Our next
non-legendary
preview card,
creatures can be your commanders.
Singularity
Enjoy.
Rupture. So 3, a blue, 2 black. It's a sorcery. Destroy all creatures. Then any number of target players each mill half their library.
Yeah,
rounded
dude.
Down.
Wow, this combines 2 very popular cards.
2
together.
very popular cards. So how did this card come to be?
So this card came to be by just thinking about all of the like disasters and crazy things that happen into space. So the idea of this card came from, I was doing a ton of research on what happens in space, and sometimes black holes collide. And I was thinking about what are 2 awesome magic effects that can collide and come together and do something awesome. And here we are.
All right. Fair
Mill players are like, oh,
Next up,
oh
Servandum the Lucent. So here we have
Servandum.
uncommon legendary human
Death
knight,
touching,
2
life linking,
white,
4/4.
black,
When
and
it enters or
black for
attacks other
4/4.
creatures you control, gain +1/+0 and gain death
Servandum
touch.
enters or attacks other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain death touch until end of turn.
So
pretty fun.
This is very emblematic of the black-white limited theme, which is a go-wide deck. So Servandum is really good at buffing a lot of your other creatures while also being a reasonable card on his own.
Oh, so is this like the signpost card for white black?
This will be the signpost card.
Okay. Are the signpost cards all legendary creatures? Are they various things?
There's going to be a mix, but one of the things we've done with Edge of Eternities is you'll see
Yeah, being
multiple
5 is tough,
versions
but it's cool.
Of our
It's a cool
main
creature.
Characters at one
It's
at
an
uncommon
acceptable
and then
power
one
level
at a
for an
higher
uncommon
rarity,
legend.
And it'll show them at different points of their life. Edge of Eternity's story is more
Yeah,
kind
super
of
sick and limited, right?
So there's not as much of a long-term scale here, so we felt like it would be a good idea to show them in multiple stages
Oh,
of
that's
their
actually
life and just
that's
kind of
relevant.
give you more of a taste of
I can't
who
pronounce
these
your
characters
username,
are
but
because they're very contained towards
I'm gonna
the
call you
space.
Redbird. Redbird,
All right.
as Redbird said.
Next up, we have
Knights.
Virulent
Creature type Knight.
Silencer. So 3 mana for an artifact creature,
Travis,
robot
I got it right here for you. Ready?
2/3. Whenever a non-token artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. This
Whenever
was
a
not on my
non-token artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player,
So
that
one
player
of my
gets 2
favorite
poison
cards,
counters.
From actually Neo Kamigawa is the Virus Beetle because
Yeah, that's what I was getting
to
at,
me,
Crown,
it's
is that the Sidar
ultimate
Jabari deck would
combination
really
of
like
fun
that.
of like robots
Knight.
and viruses.
And that other Knight
and when we're
Kindred
thinking
decks
about
may be
space
going, huh,
viruses,
maybe I should look at the
also
black-white
immediately think
cards.
to poison.
Okay.
So this is actually a very doable quest.
Does that thing look
in
like
limited.
that thing look like a
couple times.
xenomorph?
And my favorite thing about this actually is that it can stack. So if you have multiple Virulent Silencers out, one connection will get you 4 poison counters.
Yeah, I feel like this is very much at home with like
Warp
the
is a
one
cool. I should have bought even more
sliver
Galaxy
card.
Force stocks because I don't want to sell the extra
This is
stuff.
the only poison counter
Well,
card.
they're going to spike over the next couple weeks.
Okay. All right. Cool. So
And then ease back off.
challenge accepted to all you poison lovers.
Most
out
likely.
Next up, we are going. So that's kind of it for the main set preview cards. We do have some bonus sheet cards and some promos to talk through, though, as well as the kind of core 10 basic lands. So there are a number of basic lands
bonus
in this
sheets
set
and basic lands.
But these are,
Oh, this is a great time for me to use the bathroom. BRB.
Tyrion, why don't you tell us about these basic lands, where you get them, what's going on here?
Yeah, so these are the regular basic lands. We were during the debut, we saw those beautiful full art versions. Here we have what you're more typically going to get. So you do get these in play boosters. You also find some of these like when you open up the bundle or the commander deck, right? They're very much, we like to include them in that typical suite of products. They're still so strikingly beautiful, and one of the things I love about basics and going to a new world is you just get this, these amazing artists to do these stunning visuals, and it really just shows off, hey, what does the world look like? What are some of the planets that we're visiting? So yeah, basic lands are just the foundation of Magic.
And in general, like, lands were an important theme here. We knew that we would have a very distinctive visual for lands, and we would get to kind of show people land art that looked very different from typical land art, because we get the sort of elevated perspective of the curve of the planet, and it's a very different way. And we kind of seen this with Unfinity, right? People got very
What up,
excited
Steve?
about the lands in Unfinity.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, man, I took my bio while they showed off the basic land, regular frame basic lands.
Why, yes, Ethan, lands are very important to this set.
Sorry, I took my moment.
Thank you. We created a whole bonus sheet of lands.
Blight,
So
Steel,
we're gonna
Ninja.
show
I've
some of
got
them. So
no
obviously
clue what
if
you're
you
talking
looked
about.
in the debut video. But first of all, let's talk about how the bonus sheet of lands.
Oh, do you like my Calyx, Julian?
Originate from.
Look at that.
your idea?
Look at that. Look at that 4x4 Calyx with
when I think
the
of
legs
space, I think of
attachment on the
going to a lot
bottom.
of different
Get it
places
up off
and
the floor a
seeing
little
bunch
bit.
of
Ooh, baby.
Awesome things. And
Come on.
when I think of
Oh,
translating
let's
that
get a better
into
shot of that
gameplay,
thing.
it's
Oh,
definitely with
yeah.
lands.
Check it out.
So we added
My
the
office
bonus
is a
sheet,
mess.
where you
It doesn't
can get
matter,
all
though,
these
because
awesome
most of it's
lands
hidden
from
behind
Magic's
me.
history, and then we tied it into the gameplay, where you will see a lot of cards in Limited say how many differently named lands you control.
Appreciate everybody hanging out today. If you haven't hit that like
limited
button,
deck, and then have
do it for me.
Vault. You can have.
Can we get to 69 likes? Thank you very much, Elliot.
Spoiled so far.
We'll stop there just so you don't have to think about
That's
it.
that 4x4
We'll show
IKEA
some more.
special for
Some of the
sure.
ones that we're about to show. So bonus sheet. So let's talk
Bonus sheet.
How these are open, Turian. Where you get these? How often they
Surely,
show up?
please just put the fetches, I mean the shocks, on the bonus sheet as well.
When he's limited.
Yeah, so you do get the Borderless Stellar Sites lands. They do come in the play booster. We've limited them to only rare and mythics. There's 35 rares and 10 mythic rares that you get. And in the play booster, you get them 1 in 8 packs on average, right? So that means that they
Trying to
will
see if they've
show up. I
updated
mean,
the
they're
article
incredibly
yet, chat.
powerful lands,
They have not.
right? Just both in limited and in so many other Magic formats. So if you're doing a draft, there'll be a few in the draft. Right, and so they add a little bit of surprise and diversity to gameplay, right? And also, too, one of the things I really liked about limiting them to only rare and mythics.
Thanks,
is
Fast Fan.
when you get one of these,
Appreciate
it's
you.
just like you've opened up a winner. I mean,
Yeah,
between
Steve,
the
I like the
treatment and
base
how
frame art just
beautiful
fine.
They are, how powerful they are. Yeah, so for those borderless,
Those
Stellar
black
Sites,
border ones we're just going to have to see in
they're the
hand.
play booster.
I just put away all my
additionally,
Tarkir stuff. I'm
you
looking
can
for a
also find
copy. I just have had some sitting right here for the longest
where
time.
collector
The
boosters,
black
you're
border
gonna
treatment
get,
from
there's a few
Tarkir.
different variations.
Some of those look cool in hand. Some of them look kind of
when you're
whack.
opening a collector booster, you'll be finding one of these as well.
All right.
Among the bonus land treatments.
So we're going to look at 4 of them today. So the first up is Blink Moth Nexus.
There's a Blink Moth Nexus.
And as you called out, just gorgeous art.
That's a non-token artifact creature.
Yeah, it is a non-token artifact creature. So, Mike, talk a little bit about the difference between the stellar sites and the poster stellar sites.
Yeah, so the
It's like a
borderless
$4
stellar sites,
card.
when I was just talking about, hey, finding them in the play booster, those are the ones.
Keelan, I can't.
that
They're very
show up
quiet.
in
I
one of the
apologize.
Play boosters. The borderless poster stellar sites are then a variant that are a collector booster exclusive, right?
Oh, Andrew, that's a good note.
So, you know, we want, as Ethan was talking about, you go to outer space, it's this real opportunity to capture the resonance and bring these, you know, incredibly powerful lands into a new setting. And so we didn't want to just do that one time. We knew that our artists would really be able to create a couple different variations.
Yeah, it's gonna have to go off the yard,
borderless
Steve.
Poster Stellar sites, collector booster exclusive. You can find them there in foil and non-foil, and then in the borderless Stellar sites also foil and non-foil. But then both of these are also available in Galaxy foil as well.
This addition of this ship here is
there's a lot of
interesting to
cool
me because I
variations
feel
here
like
and
it
a lot of
says
just
they got
amazing
this art
cards,
done.
Yeah,
And they
speaking
threw
of
it on
amazing
there, and they
cards,
were
so,
like,
I mean,
"That's
that
not
has
enough. We need a
lot
little
of
something else."
Cool lands throughout its history. What was the process like for selecting?
Let's add a
who
ship.
Made it onto this boat.
That'll be the 1/1 artifact creature with
so
flying.
we definitely wanted to have a nice mix of lands that you're going to be.
I don't know how I
super
feel about
excited
that
for
Stellar
constructed
Sites treatment.
decks. We also wanted a healthy mix
Ooh, MMA,
of
I'm telling you.
lands that also play well in limited. So for
Yeah,
example,
Damien, that's kind of where I'm at.
Nexus,
I just that's the first
super fun
those
card to
that's
play
the
with
first
Unlimited
card,
just
Blinkmoth
because
Nexus that I've seen where I'm like,
creature, and it works
I don't
really
know.
well with your artifact synergies.
I like the frame. I
So
like
it's
the
just a
gold
really good
frame at
fit
the
for
bottom.
set. And we'll also see our next card is an excellent fit.
Well, and there were
Know
some
that.
creative constraints on which lands we could
Indeed,
use also,
yes.
right? They needed to make sense within the setting of the edge.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll have names that are very specific and just wouldn't be at home here.
Yeah.
Right, like for example, we couldn't use Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Right. That doesn't exist in
That does not
space.
exist in space.
But apparently an Eldrazi.
Not with that
Temple
attitude.
does.
Yes, Eldrazi Temple, one of my favorite cards.
Okay, so they have put
and
the ship
also
on
just
all of
hinting towards the existence of the Eldrazi in the edge.
Man, the
Also,
art on the right is
Ethan
dope.
did
I
mention
don't know
there
how I
are a
feel
lot
about the
of
text
lands
box.
that flavorfully don't make sense, but this is the one that actually does make a lot of active sense here. So Eldrazi Temple in the set. You can
I think I
cast
like
your one
that.
Eldrazi with it. Good luck.
All right.
Maybe not a limited bomb, this one.
Yeah.
One
Let's take
Eldrazi
a
in the
look
set, they
at
said.
one you already mentioned, which is Mutavault.
Yeah, so for
Eldrazi
me, I was so
Temple,
glad
like a
to,
$5 or $6 card.
See Mutavault return, right? I was.
I like calling this Mudavault to
the
trick
original set,
to
but we introduced
trigger
Mutavault,
everybody.
and so
Man,
to-
this one's
to
like
me,
nothing.
anytime, you know, and it was back then, of course. it was
$6,
inspired by
$5
Mishra's
maybe?
Factory, and so it's just like, you know, there's this history of lands and callbacks, and you know, now bringing it forward into outer space.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't. The art is so dope. I don't.
This
The
one
box is
once
just
another
like,
one that's
ugh. What
really
else?
good in,
Maybe if it was a
being
little
limited
smaller,
frame,
I feel like there's a lot of dead space in
getting all
there.
creature types ends up being surprisingly.
Is that a Universes
If you also
Beyond?
get a Blinkmoth Nexus.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's, I mean, that's one of the fun things. It's like,
I want
you
it
know,
kinda
will that
smaller.
happen? Will it happen often? No, but will
I
it
like
happen?
the frame
Yeah, certainly.
on the
Yeah,
left
and
on the
it's just
Stellar
this fun
sites.
little
I
moment
like that
of fun
frame
interaction.
at the bottom.
And clarifying for chat's covering this already, but just to say it out loud, these are not legal in standard, correct?
They are not legal in standard, yes. Everything on the
No, this is the bonus sheet.
Stellar sites is not.
Yeah, and we tried to indicate that.
You don't like the text box on the left,
I know
Pay?
in the bottom left of the cards, fairly small, but you see it says EOS down there, right?
I just think the art treatment is very cool on the poster Stellar sites.
You know, just
On the
trying
right
to
ones.
indicate, hey, these are special.
Kind of
cards.
reminds me of
They're,
those Ixalan
you know,
travel
Stellar
poster
sites.
lands that I liked so much.
Well, we'll stay on that topic a little bit because one of the other ways that we often indicate that is with a different set symbol, but these don't have a set symbol.
Yeah. So as we're going through and looking at them, right?
Oh, that I haven't noticed.
The
Maybe
creative
that's what's
team
missing.
And the graphic design team wanted to really use this idea of, you know, instead of scale birds, right? Birds that show scale.
Yeah.
There's these idea of like scale spaceships, right?
Sure.
The scale ships, and you can see one there zooming.
Interesting.
Mutavault.
And they all break the frame, right?
They're breaking the frame. So as we're going and looking at images upcoming, you'll see even more of them. Some of those were basically colliding.
Yo,
with
that Mutavault
expansion
art
symbol.
actually super
So
dope. I'm paying
we decided,
attention to the
hey, let's
asteroids
just,
now. They're ice and they've got a
let's just
creature in
remove
them.
the expansion symbol, which is something that
That Mutavolt's going to look cool in foil. Let's be real. Actually, both of these Mutavolts are going to look cool in foil. Let's be real.
To try that out. Now you still
the
can
ice on the left and the negative
rarity,
space, the white,
that M and that bottom,
the light blues on the right.
Mutavault is a mythic card.
Yeah, it's
So
weird. The
there's still
set
some
symbol is kind of
indicators,
making it
but,
feel like a
it's little
strangely
bit
empty
more,
card.
finesse.
I wonder if they
And
could
also
have
I'll
right
say one thing
aligned
that
the name
may
and
be a
type
little bit
over
more
here and
comfortable
then
with
scrunch
doing
the
this
whole
and
thing
making it
down.
this way is
I wonder
cards
how that
just
would
are
look.
So visually distinct, right?
Yeah.
Like we've moved down the title bar, for instance, itself, and so I'm hoping that distinction will sort of offset a lot of what the expansion symbol typically accomplishes.
I'm going to mess around with that.
We have one final card from the bonus sheet to show off.
Another bonus sheet card incoming.
Thespian's Stage. I love the art on these two.
Looks like the Galactic Senate.
Yeah, and I mean the art is fantastic, and you can see those. I'm going to call.
Have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Floating spaceships, right? When I'm talking about that expansion symbol, right? The Thespian Stage
tragedy,
has
Joel.
that right where you typically see the expansion symbol, and you can copy so many lands.
Yes, unfortunately, one of the things we tried to do in design was put Dark Depths onto the bonus sheet, but unfortunately, Dark Depths creates a token with a name.
A token with a name that is not a creature.
Mary
that
Lage
lives in-
isn't on the-
No, Mary Lage is not in space,
What? Are you sure?
unfortunately. Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you check out behind every
I
planet?
checked. I checked everywhere.
Keelan, don't know yet.
All right, and then we've referenced the
Steve,
Galaxy
I could
Foils.
see
Now, we
that.
don't have one of these to show off in Galaxy Foil, but we do just have the short clip from the debut video. You might have missed it, but we had, there it is.
Yeah, and thanks to I think that Zach Stella is the hand model as well. You can really, the Galaxy Foil treatment is something that for players who opened up Infinity Collector boosters, it was debuted there.
Who looked at this shot and was like, yeah, that represents it.
Getting them in person is just a beautiful treatment. So we've brought Galaxy Foil back as a collector booster exclusive. Here we're showing it on the mountain. I was talking about it on the Stellar Sights cards. Some of the
Charles Vania, the good thing is
some of those treatments you can find it on
magic is like drinking from a fire hose.
There's a number of places that we've tried to.
Is the Galaxy Foil the same as Infinity, or is it slightly tweaked and updated?
Yeah, it's a little bit updated. I mean, for that you really have to have, I'll say, a pretty keen eye, right, between the two. But we wanted to always capture, hey, this is what's cool and amazing and resonant about the world. And so, of course, the team continued to work. And
It's got to look
iterate,
better than Ripple
but,
Foil. I mean, Ripple Foil was like
for
nothing.
A lot of that really is customized to the card itself, right? The team really works to with the art and the layers of the art to make sure that
it's nowhere
shines appropriately and doesn't over or underwhelm.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, we've got 3 promos to show off.
Promos?
So these are cards you have already seen, but these are their promo versions. So
Making
first of
fat.
all,
Lots
the
of people have been
Buy a
talking
Box
about Dragon
promo
Ball Z, yeah?
is going to be Singularity Rupture. There's the Buy a Box version of that card.
Does that look kind of
So
like
you buy a box and then you
Fallout on the right? What does it look
destroy
like?
all the creatures.
all the creatures that came in the box, and mill the cards that came in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You take like half the packs and flip them over.
Yeah, buy a box, check with your local game store for availability, but generally speaking, if you buy a box, you get one of these at participating local WPN stores. Next up, we have the bundle promo. So this is the Emissary Escort. So that robot soldier we were talking about. This one will come inside the bundle.
Whoa, that art looks dope.
In here, you can see we give this an alternate art, right? And so it's just another way to capture a card that's probably going to be impactful, and maybe in standard, certainly in limited, but maybe in some older formats like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Right. It definitely has that possibility.
All right. And then finally, we're only showing off one. So for every set, we do promo pack cards, which are generally uncommons. They come in these small promo packs that you can get at your local game store for playing in events, doing well at events, kind of whatever the store wants to do. Normally we show off all of them at the same time, but we're kind of dishing them out a little bit one at a time here. So we're going to show off one of the promo pack cards, which is that Starfield Shepherd we saw earlier.
Damn, sweet art on the Angels in this set.
Cards Unlimited too.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good value on the warp, and then does the thing when it comes back later too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice and limited that you can basically, if nothing else, you get a land.
Right.
Right, but if you have something to go and fetch, look
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
I'm putting this in one of my commander decks for sure. My angel deck, it wants this. Not a lot of creatures with value 1, but there are.
These presenters are jacked about the angel.
Perfect.
All right, that is everything we have for today. Thank you for joining us for both the debut.
Chat, that's going to do it for me as well. I appreciate y'all hanging out and watching all this stuff pop off today. As you know, I'm going to go jump and make a bunch of videos about this. Appreciate you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hope everybody is excited for Edge of Eternities. It's time to go to space. Y'all have a good rest of your day.